Welcome to the Dag Code Podcast. This is DDS, where real fans come for real sports talk and no BS. We're your hosts, Blake Melton, Bradley Newberry, and Matthew Parker. Parker, what's up, dude?
King Henry, baby.
Whoa.
That's right. Put that crown on it.
It's NFL reaction to week 2 time. And we're going to start with our hometown Tennessee Titans. They go on the road and somehow rally in a shocking victory, 33-30 in overtime against Seattle. We'll go to the season ticket holder.
Guys, the Titans are 8-0 after losing a game by double digits since 2019. We brought that stat up.
Did.
I
I saw no reason that was going to keep going.
I mean, the coach rallies people well. And people talk about Titans rallying. Titans owned this game. I mean, if you go look at the box score, almost everything looks better about the Titans than it did for the Seahawks.
Oh my gosh. Before you break down the numbers in game, Blake, the story kind of started pregame. Would you agree?
So,
There was a story.
breaking news here. Taylor Lewan's hurt.
Uh-oh.
He's got a boo-boo. He slipped, tripped on a tampon.
In the end zone.
In the end zone, playing with a pillow. I don't know what to say, though. I mean, the amount of journalists and stuff that said that, you know, and he'll find a reason to puss out before the game. It was incredible going into this game, and wouldn't you know, he found a way to step on a banana peel and hurt himself.
That's a long way to fly just to not play, though. That was an accident.
Whatever, man. I don't know. The Titans have just got used to playing without Taylor. But he's kind of a really expensive, piece of furniture at this point. So I'm not really sure why we don't just figure out a way to offload that hunk of shit and get him out of here.
Jeez. Okay. Tell us what you really think.
Yeah, don't sugarcoat it.
I mean, dude, what is he bringing to the table here at this point?
He brings a podcast to the Titans.
Well, don't even get me started. I mean, good grief.
What does he bring, Parker? I don't know. I don't watch him that closely.
I mean, when he plays, he's one of the best left tackles in the league. He's been injured a lot. He missed most of last year, the year before that for PED stuff. I can't get on him for injuring himself. I think he wanted to play. He did go out there for a reason. I mean, there's video of him hurting himself. And Blake's echoing a lot of Titans fans. In fact, that's probably what I hear from most everybody. But I mean, they say when someone tears like an ACL, it takes it. Even when doctors say you're good to come back, that you're not really good to come back. It always takes another year mentally just to get over it and trust it. And maybe when he fell down, it looks like it was that exact same. I'm not a doctor. I'm just what I saw in the video. It looks like the exact same area where he fell as what he hurt last year. And maybe he's just not mentally there, and he's hurting himself by not trusting it.
Well, and look, I think he's a pretty cool guy. I'm not going to lie. I'm being hard on him on purpose. But this is the thing. I mean, so when you have surgery, you have scar tissue from when you're in there. So he might feel some pops every now and then. It might hurt a little bit. But a lot of doctors will tell you like y'all are saying, that's normal. I mean, you got to push through some of that. But hey, whatever. Like I said, Titans are used to it. Unfortunately, we have to tell our backup, linemen that you're going to get to play. You might be playing left tackle, but whatever. I don't want to spend too much time on this just because it's just like, guys, I mean, this is just more of the same.
Just a little pregame fun. But dive into some of these numbers, because I found this absolutely shocking that the Titans come back and win.
The box score, go look at it again, just like we did with Alabama and Florida in our previous podcast. Titans had 144 more yards. They doubled the amount of first downs, 30 more total plays, 20 minutes longer time of possessions, half the penalties. According to Dan Orlovsky on Twitter, the Titans also ran, which was genius, I didn't realize at the time, ran no huddle hurry up on third down to be able to keep Seattle from getting their blitz packages in there.
I like that.
To be able to give Tannehill some time. they were the better team. I'm watching this game at halftime. It's 9-24. And I made the comment to my wife going, I know we're down, but we're settling for field goals. Unlike the week before where we couldn't move the ball at all. They were moving it all up and down the field. They just couldn't get in the end zone. And if that would have changed, if we could have got in the end zone those 3 times, and there's some other questionable stuff I'd like to get into this game to me shouldn't even have been close.
Blake, what I saw when they were moving the ball, a lot of running, of course. We got to see Julio Jones a little bit, but where was A.J. Brown?
Man, he was, trying to find another frying pan to put on to use his hands. Because, dude, he dropped so many balls. But, yeah, you said it. Julio Jones, 6 for 128. I'll tell you what I'm impressed with. Derrick Henry has now added the pass-catching component to his game. Second leading receiver, 6 with 55. So, I mean, I think that's a big deal, and that could spell some trouble in the future for some teams.
That is massive. The 6 is the most receptions he's ever had in a game. Used to, when Derrick Henry would come out of the game, it's a passing down. And this year, it's not. When he's in there, it might be a passing down. And there was one play, and I wish I had the stats on it, and it was towards the beginning, and Tannehill dropped back, and I saw a guy kind of the middle that was going to murder Tannehill. And Henry, as big as he is, isn't the best pass blocker, but stood up in front of him and just decked the dude. And I was like, oh my God, where did that come from? Because I'm not used to seeing him as a very good pass blocker.
Right. He's really rounding out. I mean, good Lord, what a day. 35 carries for 182. Woo.
What's that?
King-like numbers.
Oh, that is
looking
King-like.
at the shirt.
It is. And A.J. Brown, did y'all see afterwards on Twitter, he came out and said that his family said he couldn't have caught a Rona yesterday.
I did see that.
On Sunday because he was so bad.
You couldn't even catch the Rona.
And that's not like him.
No,
so
it's not.
I don't have, I mean, I would pick at him a little bit, calling him frying pans for hands. But I mean, the reality is him and Julio Jones, we got to see, I mean, that's a pretty lethal combination on the outside.
Julio was the man. And I did find one other couple of fun stats. But last week, if y'all remember, Titans gave up the fastest sack in the league. This week, 2 for 2. The Titans gave up the fastest sack in the league.
Oh, no.
Bobby Wagner came through and just decked him. It was slower than last week's sack, but it's still the fastest. I mean, didn't even touch him. The line actually played pretty good. Quisenberry, who we got on to last week, was the highest rated offensive lineman according to the PFF for the Titans. And Sambrello, who played left tackle for Lewan, played great. And if you look at the numbers, they can't run it up the middle. Up the middle, Henry tried to run it 13 times, 42 yards. On the corners, 22 for 140.
Yeah, that's a scheme thing. I just... It's hard to really say. I think that Derrick Henry really, I think he loves being out on the edge because he just loves posterizing boys out there on the edge. And I swear to God,
he can run too. He's fast. He's deceptively fast.
He slowed down, I'm convinced, to stiff arm that guy. He said, wait, come here. Okay, now I'm going to start running. I mean, yeah, he's running away from these guys and he's looking back like, well, I think the marketing folks are going to want me to stiff arm a guy, so I'm going to slow down a little bit.
There is another side of the ball for the Titans. So why were they down anyway? I'm seeing broken coverage, multiple receivers getting beyond safeties and cornerbacks. It's still the biggest concern for this team.
Yeah, I mean, first half, it was pretty rough. I mean, you saw a lot of miscommunications. I mean, I think on one touchdown throw, we saw 2 of our guys run into each other. That was kind of embarrassing. But, once it seemed like something just clicked at halftime, they had the one busted coverage that was probably the worst busted coverage I've ever seen in my life. But after that, I mean, I think they only gave up like 168 yards or something like that in the second half, and 64 of them were on one play. So I mean, I think that if they can get their communication issues or whatever it is that's holding them back in the secondary going, I mean, we're getting some pressure on the quarterback, guys. So, I mean, if we can just hold on, it'd be good.
You're right. A lot of it was communication. If the 2 guys don't run into each other, and if the guy that was he was so wide open for a touchdown, I called my dad in his 70s and said he could have scored on that play. I mean, he was open by like 30 yards.
Yeah.
I mean, those are just busted coverages. You wrap those things up, which they did in the second half. They gave up 6 points to Seattle in the second half at home. This team hasn't lost at home in their opener since 2008. Fulton looks good.
Yeah.
You know, I really think that this team's trending in the right way. While we did sack him, Russell Wilson, we did not get near close to him, I think, as much as we should have. Jeffrey Simmons, on average, was 4.45 yards away from Wilson every time he went to pass the ball. That was the closest for the Titans. If you look at the other side, if you put him on Seattle's, he would have been in last. So we still got to get more pressure, but I really like the way that they were going, and they responded well.
I mean, you got to look at where we're coming from, though, compared to where we were. I feel like we're getting at least a little bit of push to where we're pushing these guys outside of the pocket. And if we can do that, you know, maybe, just maybe, we can make something happen in the secondary.
And they actually got sacks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And alas, they win with a field goal. Anyone want to touch on the kicker? It's been a big bugaboo for this team.
It has, and I made the joke when I first saw him walk out there. I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is his NFL kicker." Like
for the Texans, right?
Yeah, but and then for Pittsburgh, but he was fine. He was good. He made 3 of 4 extra, made the extra points, like made the game winner. Like,
yeah,
hey, he's
take it. Even if he was a 1 week rental,
love him
until Ficken comes back.
Yeah, it's fine by me. Take it, no problem with him.
Yeah, make those field goals. That's all I need you to do. Just make them.
So the little look ahead now for the Titans. Can they keep the momentum going when they play host to the Indianapolis Colts? They need to. They need to get that monkey off the back.
Yeah, we won't go into too much depth here, but we won't go into debt either. But we won't go into too much depth here.
About predictions.
I think
just a look ahead.
How this game coming up with the Colts goes. I'll get it out here in a second. How this game goes is going to kind of shape how the AFC South is going to look.
In the times past, when I've said the Titans have the chance to put their foot on the throat of a team, they've not won almost every single time. So hopefully we'll see. We'll dive into this one and have hopefully some numbers.
I hope the Titans bury the Colts and Wentz's bum ankles. Get him out of here. Speaking of bums, let's go to Jacksonville. The Jaguars continue their rookie season with their rookie head coach, their rookie quarterback. Jaguars fall in their home opener 23-13 to the Broncos. Look, Trevor Lawrence was starting out like a man on fire. He was 5 of 7, including a 25-yard touchdown strike to Marvin Jones, opening the game with a 7-0 lead. After that, fellas, Trevor Lawrence and that offense was 9 of 26 the rest of the way. No touchdowns, 2 picks. The Jaguars could only amass 189 total yards, but they had, remember, 83 of those in the opening drive.
I mean, I'm looking at these stats. Is this a professional football team?
They're a very young team.
I know. Are they made up of high school players? Is that how young they are?
They're made up of college players, yes.
I mean, my God. I mean, it's kind of embarrassing, quite honestly.
I mean, this is what we expected, right?
I don't know.
All 3 of us picked Denver.
I don't know that I expected this. I mean,
I didn't either. Not like this.
I picked them, I think, at the beginning of the year to win 7 games.
I didn't.
I just don't. It's bad. I mean, 118 yards passing.
And how many came in the opening drive? I mean, it was probably 70 of those.
And he's not getting help anyway. He had, according to PFF, he had 17 catchable balls he threw. That's it. 17 catchable, and 3 of those were dropped.
Is he being pressured a bunch, Bradley?
You know what? I wrote down a stat here. It's right here. The Jags offensive line gave up 1 sack, and that makes a total of 2 on the year.
I have the same thing here. The offensive line was actually good. The only sack was given up by a backup guard. Mm-hmm. No player on that line allowed more than 3 quarterback pressures.
Nope.
So is this a schematic problem with the coaching, or is this
okay?
Trevor Lawrence is throwing bad passes. Like, is he throwing the ball away, or is he throwing, or is he?
So I will back up a minute. I think that Trevor Lawrence is helping his offensive line
I could see that
by throwing the ball away.
Yeah.
But from a lot of what I'm seeing too is, I don't know if I like the scheme.
That's what I'm asking. I mean,
this guy's mentioned, look, Urban Meyer runs this, not a vertical game, but the horizontal game, and you can see it. It's very obvious.
Ooh.
What do you have pulled up there?
So within of his 14 completions, within 10 yards were
5, 6, 7, 10.
10 of his 14. 10 of them were under 10 yards. 5 of them were under 0 yards behind the line of scrimmage. It's just, it doesn't work in the NFL. The athletes are too good. At Florida and Ohio State, you could pull this stuff like Alabama's doing right now.
Yeah.
You could dink and dunk it because you're just better than everybody.
Yeah. You get your bigger, stronger receivers out there to push around the not so good defensive backs.
You've got Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
Throw the ball.
Yeah. The guy can throw the ball.
Yeah. No, he's perfectly capable of throwing.
I believe I read, speaking of his targets, I believe I read Laviska Shenault, 7 targets, I believe -3 yards. Like, that's the first time in history that someone that's had that many targets made nothing out of the targets. Nothing.
It's so, he's set up for failure. You know, I have another question is, they had the lead, right? We just
7-0 and then 7-3. They had the lead in the first.
What are they doing with the ball? Like, why are they running it?
That's what I'm asking. I mean, that's how you help a young quarterback out. You don't make him be the star.
I honestly think Robinson, he's like, what did he? He's like averaging 5 carries, I think, a game.
Yeah, he had 11 for the entire game.
11 for last game. So he's averaging maybe 8 a game.
I mean, dude,
total carries.
when they are asking Trevor Lawrence to be the savior here, and that's not fair in the NFL. I mean, you've got to have a running back that can give you something that might open something up that's easier down the field. And you got to quit running this shit behind the line of scrimmage. And they can't probably run the ball very well because they do all this shit right around the line of scrimmage.
I wish they would trust him more because I think Robinson is just fine. But it's a scheme thing, Parker.
I mean, it can't be about trust. This is the NFL. He's supposed to be good.
But they won't let him.
You're paying him to be good. So you need to. That's Urban Meyer's inexperience in coaching in my mind.
So technically, they're not paying Robinson anything but peanuts.
Yeah, they are.
He was an undrafted guy off the streets, but they should allow him to excel. But this scheme is not going to put him in situations to allow him to run the rock to excel.
I mean, look, I'm having a hard time remembering. Is running the ball even a really big part of Urban Meyer's?
It was.
I mean, so
Yeah.
what's the problem here?
Well, he had better players in college. I mean, you could hand it off to, gosh, I just forgot.
Rainey,
whoever.
all of them.
Yeah.
Harvin.
Yes. And you could just, you was out talented.
Ezekiel Elliott.
There you go. That's what I was searching for. You could just out talent people.
I mean, so I guess he was banking on ETN to be that guy.
That whole organization was. I
So
mean,
they're
you don't
just
draft a
mailing
running
it in?
back. You don't draft a running back in the first round unless you have big plans for that dude. To Parker's point, you shouldn't be drafting a running back in the first round.
I don't, unless that player is Derrick Henry wasn't taken in the first round.
No,
Like, unless that player
Adrian
is
Peterson.
Yes. I mean, it's got to be
100%. He's going to be a win.
yes. Only one that may make sense for me is maybe Najee, even though I don't really, just because that organization, it makes sense with them kind of, but I don't know. But here's my thing. I want to ask you guys, and let's, Brad, you have something else on that one? I want to ask you.
It's just no expectation from the Jags fan going into that game. I picked them to lose. I believe their defensive coordinator, was it Fangio or whatever? I mean, he's not going to allow a rookie quarterback to do anything against them. So that first drive where Lawrence goes 5 of 7 with a touchdown pass it could have been just because it was scripted, and then it goes off script. Defense wins.
That's what I was going to ask you, because their defense is good. I didn't see what the drive was out of the second half. I was curious about that too, because I assumed it was because it was scripted, and I have no idea how they came out at the second half.
There was nothing there. The entire rest of the game, there was nothing there.
Yeah, and then I mean, I'm even looking at some of these Teddy Bridgewater between the line of scrimmage and 10 yards, attempted 21 passes and only didn't complete 2 of them.
And I wouldn't consider Teddy Bridgewater to be upper echelon material for NFL quarterbacks.
He's not.
That's just what an NFL quarterback has to do.
He's steady Eddie.
You've got to be able to throw those 10-yard passes over the middle and on the outside.
I think Trevor can throw them.
I think he can too. He's just not being he's not being schemed to be able to do it. I mean, for me, what I worry about the most is that this is going to be yet another example. And look, I know the circumstances are all different of the Jaguars organization, not the organization as the owners, but the coach is part of the organization, ruining a really good prospect here. I hope that they get his ass out of there before they ruin Trevor Lawrence.
Y'all like to talking about the coach, and y'all like to talk about Twitter. I think Bradley knows where I'm going to go with this one. After 2 games, Jacksonville Jaguars posted on Twitter a quote from Urban Meyer.
Mm-hmm.
And it says, quote, "Hang in there with us. We're going to get better."
You can go to sleep knowing that we will get better.
You can go to sleep knowing that.
I think anyone can get better after they've now lost 17 straight games.
And it's the NFL. It's not it's after 2 games. If you want to do that after 14 games, okay. 2 games?
I mean, you pretty much just said, don't come to our games.
Yeah.
That's what you just did. I mean, that's saying, hey, we're terrible. Don't come.
But this isn't a player. This isn't Taylor Lewan.
I know. This is a guy that's supposed to be fixing this problem.
One of the leaders. Yep.
Jeez.
Yeah, I'm pretty... I told Blake before doing this show, man, other than losing to Houston, Jaguars are exactly who I thought they'd be. I didn't expect anything of this season, but that loss to Houston is...
Are they really exactly what you thought? Because they didn't just lose to Houston. They got their ass kicked.
Yeah, a loss is a loss in the pros. There ain't no ranking systems.
I mean, but dude, in this game was not as close as it says on the scoreboard.
Yeah,
they're not even close. They're not even close to competing. This is a team playing against their practice squad kind of stuff.
It was only bumped up to this 13 points because you have Jamal Agnew returning a 102-yard kickoff return.
Fastest guy in the game.
Mm.
Yeah,
you had the first drive and you had a kickoff return for 102 yards, and everything in between was garbage. Offensively speaking, and the defense that everyone's throwing on them too.
No, I get we Titans fans, we live that for God.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember Jake Locker, 80 yards passing.
Terrible.
Yeah. But all right. But I mean,
Marcus Mariota, 134 yards passing.
I mean, just remember, 1 sack given up, 2 on the year. A lot of that credit has to go to the rookie quarterback, I believe.
I would agree with that. I would agree.
Getting the ball out of there.
Yeah, I agree.
I got nothing else. I'm going to go on to Sunday night in another. It was a great game. Great game, but my goodness, Patrick Mahomes, his first ever loss in September, his first ever interception thrown in September. They lose 36-35, and they were going to methodically just keep running the ball down the throats of Baltimore and line up for Butker's kick, but old Hilaire, whoops, dropped his groceries.
Golly, this was an offensive smorgasbord is what this was. I mean, Patrick Mahomes still doing what he does. I mean, yeah, he threw his pick. I mean, they didn't rush the ball though. I'm seeing that 62 yards rushing. Wow. Yeah, this was a heck of a game though. I actually enjoyed watching it. I'm kind of look, Lamar Jackson's got. He can't throw 2 interceptions in a game and expect to win every single time against a Kansas City team. I'll tell you that. You can't give the ball back to Patrick Mahomes 2 extra times and expect to win. So, I mean, look, hats off to them. They played their ass off. They got the win, but I think they need to clean some stuff up before if they think they're going to be able to beat them again down the road.
This Chiefs team is the Alabama of the NFL. You know, everybody thinks they're the best. I got serious questions about them. That defense, I mean, they won the turnover battle and lost the game. When was the last time the Chiefs had won the turnover battle and probably lost the game? I bet you.
And it started with Honey Badger with a pick six.
Yeah.
He had 2 on the night.
That's true.
2 interceptions.
Lamar had the ball back, had it twice within the first minute just because that interception was so quick. And those 2 interceptions were bad by Lamar. That one was in triple coverage. I don't even know who he was passing it to. But other than that one, man, dare I say, he actually threw some good balls.
I thought so too. That's why I kind of caught myself from saying it there because, I mean, he looked good there for a while. And I was like, but then he just throws a ball and you're like, what the hell are you looking at?
I don't know if I like the whole watching him jump in the air and throw it. What did he do it 2 or 3 times? He's like jumping and then throwing this weird sidearm thing.
Yeah,
it worked, but it looks, I don't know if that's safe.
No, you're going to get
ankles, legs twisted all up.
Yeah, but he is electric. Like you can't stop this guy. Like there are people that call him a running back. I mean, he's electric. Like I have him on one of my fantasy teams. I'm just like, it's fun to have him. He's fun to watch. Yeah, this team's good. I know they lost to the Raiders last week, but this is a lot of reasons why I picked them to lose in this game, but I picked them on our with the points. You took the Ravens because I don't think they showed anything against the Raiders. I thought they were just going to beat them. And then they came out here and they showed everything. Because Lamar, if you remember, didn't hardly even run in that game. And he ran 16 times in this game. I think they're going to be a scary team to play.
They were my AFC pick to represent in the Super Bowl, if you remember. I mean, with all the injuries that are starting to mount up with Baltimore, I started to be like, uh-oh. I don't know if this pick will come to fruition, but they straight up punched Kansas City in the face.
They did. And does it matter? Tyson Williams, like their 5th string running back, 13 carries for 77 yards.
And we're not even talking about the guys that got off the couch.
Yeah, I mean, Latavius Murray, 9 carries, 36 yards, and a touchdown.
Mm-hmm. There's another one, Freeman,
yeah. And then they've got Le'Veon on the practice squad.
Oh, God, just get them all.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Great game, though.
Yep, loved it.
Next topic, we're going to talk about injuries around the league. They seem to just keep mounting up. Is this just by circumstance? Is it something going on in the preseason, the lack of stuff going on in the preseason? But we had some major concerns here this week.
Yeah, I mean, as a fan, I'm looking at this and I'm thinking it has to be lack of stuff in the preseason. It has to be, in my opinion. It's just been kind of a weird year already with a lot of things surrounding football. But injuries are hard to predict, and I mean, I could be completely wrong. Maybe it has nothing to do with the preseason, but it just seems logically to me that, you know, if you don't know how to, if you forget how to take a hit, you know, from a guy or something like that, you don't warm up properly, or maybe you're out of shape. I mean, you're going to be more prone to be injured.
But that again brings us back to the topic of, do you play people? I mean, not to rub salt in the wound, but you know it better than most. Mm-hmm. Because you can get hurt then too. I mean, and we just got word. I mean, this just came down. Jarvis Landry, wide receiver for the Browns, on IR, out at least 3 games. I was watching the early slate. There were 9 games, and at least in 4 of them, quarterback gone. I was texting you guys. It was unbelievable because I sat sitting there watching that they pull. We lost Carson. We lost Baker Mayfield. We lost Tua. Let's see. Who else did we lose? Dalton went out, and then it wasn't just quarterbacks. It was T.J. Watt, Darrell Henderson, Tyrod Taylor,
Jarvis. Yeah,
I mean, it was all over the place. I think it's just bad luck. I mean, I don't know what else to say to it.
What's Tua's thing? Is it a rib?
Yeah, it's a bruised rib.
Yeah, it's not fractured though, so he's just gonna have to play through the pain.
Which, thank God, because that team with Jacoby Brissett is bad.
Yeah, that's tough.
It did not look the same.
I mean, not one.
Wind just totally went out of their sails when he went out.
No. And with all these quarterback injuries, I don't know how many times I heard the name Deshaun Watson last Sunday, but the Texans are going to refuse to activate him. He's just going to be a healthy scratch.
Man, I still think that because the Texans are just outright saying, no, we're not going to activate him, I think that is a signal to the rest of the NFL that they know something about what's going on, and no one's going to touch that with a 10-foot pole.
I just don't think they want him. I don't think he wants to be there. I don't think they want him to be there. I think if he shows up, they're afraid of what he's going to do. What did he do? Did he go out there and just say, "Here you go, other team. Here's the ball. Get me off the field"?
No.
I don't know. But since they haven't traded him, it makes me think that they're not going to just move him for peanuts. That they're like, okay, fine. Our season's done. It's still going to be 3 first-round picks.
Right. Yeah.
And somebody will pay it in the offseason.
Probably. I'll transition to another topic here. We're going to talk about rookie quarterbacks. Most of them, if not all of them, are looking like rookies. I've got 5 quarterbacks written down here to compare. But Blake, just not even hearing these stats yet, if I say pick your rookie quarterback, which name comes to mind?
Mac Jones.
Parker?
Can I still have Trey Lance?
You can. All right, here we go. We're going to go in order in which they were drafted. Let's go completion percentage. Lawrence, 50%. Wilson, 55%. Lance, 100%. Fields, 53%. Jones, 74%. Blake, I asked the question. You see these top two, 50%, 55%. I argue that that's the Jets and the Jaguars asking these young guys to do too much.
Yep.
And then compared to Mac Jones, 74% manage the game.
Yeah. And he was not a world beater in college either. That's kind of what Nick Saban teaches his quarterbacks. He's to take care of the ball, manage the game. He doesn't produce a lot of Heisman Trophy winning quarterbacks, but that's really what Mac Jones is. He's a game manager. He's not being asked to be the savior of the organization. He's got some pieces and a scheme around him that he can, learn as he goes, as well as not being put in the spotlight and expect to, throw for 380 yards a game.
Does this mean that he's better, Parker, or is it just the circumstance of the team scheme?
It's just it's a circumstance. It's a better situation. You being a good quarterback is mainly not about you being a good quarterback. It's about your organization being good. There's a reason why the Jets have been terrible for years. He just happens to be in a place with a stable coach that's been there for a long time and all the pieces. I mean, that team is good. They've got a good defense. They've got a good line. They've got 14 running backs. They've got maybe not wide receivers, but tight ends. They have good pieces. So he doesn't have to do all that much.
Yeah. So their yardage is all about the same. You have Wilson with 468, Jones with 467, Lawrence with 450. The touchdown, I call it touchdown to interception ratio, because whenever I say the touchdown numbers, it's going to sound like Lawrence, but it doesn't tell the full story. Mm-hmm. I mean, Lawrence has 4 TDs, but he also has 5 interceptions.
Yeah.
Wilson has 2 TDs to 5 interceptions, which is horrible. And then you have Lance with 1 touchdown to no picks. Fields, no touchdowns to 1 pick. Jones, only 1 touchdown to 0 picks, but he's managing the game.
Yeah. I mean, and it's tough with Trevor Lawrence because I know what the situation is that he's being put into, and the things that he's being asked to do are unrealistic for a guy of his age in this industry, if you will. He's just not in the right situation in my mind for him to flourish. And I mean, you're seeing it with Mac Jones. I mean, he's in a situation where he could just, for rookie quarterbacks, it's more about not hurting the team. And honestly, I think Trevor Lawrence probably does a pretty good job of not hurting the team any more than he does, just because of the scheme and the situation that he's put in. I mean, like we talked about, he helps out his offensive line because he's throwing the ball away instead of throwing it up.
Without question, he's helping the line. Ratings, his boy Trey Lance with 1 pass, 127.1 rating.
It's tough sample size there.
Jones 96.7. Then you get to Lawrence at 57.1, Wilson 56.1, and Fields at a lowly 38.2. But Chicago keeps saying they're going back to Dalton on a bum leg. Yeah. So we don't even get a true picture of Fields yet.
Yeah, we don't know. And what was the Wilson one again?
Wilson's rating 56.1, 2 touchdowns, 5 picks.
And of those 5 picks, how many of them came last week?
At one point, I think my wife was joking about this. He was 3 of 6, 3 picks. And she's like, hey, at least he's completing every pass. Nothing's touching the ground.
It was unbelievable. So he had 4 interceptions and no touchdowns.
Right.
And in decades, looking back at this, y'all are going to love this stat. You know who the 2 previous quarterbacks to do this?
Oh, Lord.
I'm afraid to ask.
It is Sam Darnold of the Jets and Mark Sanchez
Of the Jets.
of the Jets.
Oh, boy. The Jets.
Oh, they're jetting it up.
Oh, man, that's brutal. Oh,
Yeah. Then our quick look ahead, we have Carolina traveling to Houston. I have no clue who the Houston quarterback will be. I guess it'll be run-of-the-mill Mills.
it'll be Davis Mills.
Oh, my God. Carolina, this guy, he mentioned it in the prediction show. I'm a believer now. I'm buying into Carolina.
Yeah, I know.
I
Good
think
grief.
Carolina just is the better team here. I don't know what the point spread is yet, but I'm taking Carolina blindly to just win this game.
I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, for me, it's more about can we just get Carolina out of there as quick as possible without having to worry about getting anybody injured, going down there to play this train wreck.
Yeah, the point spread, by the way, is 7.5.
Okay.
I checked it right before we started this. And the defense, though, guys, we talked about maybe that being a weakness of this team. Right now, they have the best defense in the league with the Panthers.
Whoa.
And they're passing. Hey, in Sam Darnold, I believe he is the new Tannehill. You get out of Adam Gase, they have the 9th rated passing offense. This guy,
Wow.
Gase, I mean, I just don't even, it's unbelievable how bad he is for quarterbacks. I just wish they would go. I don't know. I wish they'd almost have a sit down on ESPN, like on a 30 for 30 with Tannehill and Darnold, just to talk about Gase. But this team's good. I'm telling you, they've got offensive weapons, and they should smoke the Texans.
Yeah.
I mean, Davis Mills. The one advantage the Texans do have with Davis Mills, we never really seen him. So like, there's not much tape on him. I mean, so maybe he comes out and does something. I don't know.
No, nothing.
No.
I'm grasping the straws here, folks.
JC Horn, get the pick. That's all I got. That's all I got for the NFL reaction to week 2.
It just
What you
changed to
got?
8, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
It's going to
geez.
keep going up.
Okay, and climbing.
So buy in
Climbing.
now before it gets to 10.
All right. Well, thank you again, guys, for joining us. Be sure to check us out on Twitter at DDS Sports Talk. Leave us a comment there. Let us know what you thought about the NFL games this past weekend. I don't got much coming up here. I'm liking the. Y'all just stay tuned for the prediction show. I don't want to give too much away here. Y'all got any parting thoughts over there?
Yeah, Buffalo got a victory, and shame on you Steelers for losing to the Raiders at home.
Oh, Steelers look awful.
Yeah, that was bad. All right, guys, tighten up. You guys be well.